Charlie didn't get to Lethena's point for a while, but he was more or less embarrassed when he heard that. After all, Doris is his own employee. Although the Emgrand Group is his own, the entire Emgrand Group's operations, management, and development are almost entirely handled by Doris alone. In contrast, he is a handoff shopkeeper. If it is true that Doris quits her job to fall in love and travel around the world according to what Lethena said, it would be tantamount to leaving the Emgrand Group behind. From his heart, naturally, he didn't want this situation. After all, who would let his capable person not do business and run around the world? However, he was also very clear in his heart that it was chatting with Doris's parents anyway, so just follow their words and talk down. It's no mistake. So, he smiled and said, "Auntie, what you said is very reasonable. In fact, when you are young, you should go out to experience the world and enjoy life." When Lethena heard Charlie say this, she immediately nodded with a smile and said, "Yeah. It seems that you and Auntie have the same ideas. When you look back, you can help Auntie to persuade Doris. Anyway, you are also a self-employed person." Yes, self-employed people have relatively free time. After she quits her job or takes a long vacation, you two can go on a trip together. Charlie was stunned, and couldn't help but smile. "Auntie, my time is not as free as you think. There are still many things." Lethena waved her hand and said earnestly, "Listen to your aunt's advice. If you at this age, if you don't enjoy life well, and you will get married and have children in the future, then you will really be tired to death." After speaking, Lethena couldn't help feeling, "My husband and I had been wanting and tired from the time I was pregnant with Doris. At that time, I thought that it would be easier for us to live our way once the child is born, but later we realized that the lie got much harder after her birth. Later, we thought, it would be nice to wait for the child to go to kindergarten, but we really waited for her to go to kindergarten and found that things were more troublesome. Not only to pick up and drop off her every day, but also to pay attention to her comprehensive development of moral, intellectual, physical, and artistic faculties. After class, she had to learn musical instruments, dance, and calligraphy. Every day he rode a bicycle to take her to class with teachers from Ors Hill. When you enter elementary school, you must not only pay attention to hobbies but also pay attention to your children's learning. Then there are small promotion, junior high, high school entrance examination. There is no time period in which it is really easy. Sitting in the hospital bed, Simon couldn't help but sigh. Yes. From the time I was pregnant with the child until the child was admitted to college, this is really real life. It has been a lot of hard work over the past 10 or 20 years. Lethena couldn't help sighing. So, you young people must enjoy life while you are young. The best golden years of a person's life is the 10 years from 20 to 30. In these 10 years, you have a relatively complete outlook on the world, outlook on life and values, and the ability to distinguish right from wrong. You have even achieved financial independence to a certain extent. You have finally begun to break away from the control of your parents and experience adult-free life. If you don't grasp it well or enjoy it in the next 10 years, you will definitely regret it in the future." Charlie nodded in agreement. When he was young, he also had a lot of fantasies. The education of his parents has never done anything to help him grow up or hope his son will become a dragon. When he was young, his mother would always tell him, "Life is short and the world is big. I hope you can be a happy person, a person who can travel all over the world and eventually reap happiness and live up to this life." If those accidents don't happen, the Wade family's financial resources were enough to support Charlie's economic freedom from childhood to age, and enough to support him to pursue his dreams when he was in his 20s. And Charlie has never put money in his eyes, so after he reaches adulthood, he will not get involved in family fights. In that case, he is likely to be indulged in traveling the world every day. Maybe to conquer Mount Everest, maybe go skiing in the Alps, go on vacation in France, go to Antarctica, or go diving in Tahiti. But it was the accident that changed his life trajectory drastically. Originally, he was the world's top rich child, within a population of 6 or 7 billion in the world, and no more than 100 people who can reincarnate so well. However, after 8 years of age, he became the poorest and most miserable orphan. Compared with other orphans, he has had a harder life. This is because he not only had no father and no mother like other orphans but also lived in an orphanage like other orphans. In his young heart, he still had to endure the pain of the murder of his parents, endure the unshakable hatred, and endure the huge gap from heaven to hell. In a blink of an eye, 19 years have passed. The little boy who stood crying to death at the entrance of the orphanage has now grown into a 27-year-old adult man. As Lethina said, the best age in life is in the 10 years from 20 to 30. However, for Charlie, 7 years have passed out of golden 10 years. Charlie couldn't help asking himself, I have not had any chance of enjoying life in the past 7 years. What will happen to the next 3 years? If the feuds of my parents have not been reported in these 3 years, then my golden 10 years will pass. At this point, Charlie felt a little lost in his heart. However, he never resented the past 19 years of life. Although in these 19 years, the first 15 years were lonely and helpless, and the next 3 years suffered all kinds of cynicism, it can be said that he has tasted all the hardships in the world. Lethina thought that after a few words of her own, Charlie seemed to be a little confused. Deep down he couldn't help asking herself, did I accidentally say something wrong? Why does this man feel like he is worried now? Just she was thinking about it, Doris ran back out of breath. Holding 2 plastic bags in her hand, she was still gasping for breath and said with some difficulty, Dad, Mom, I bought the meal. It is ready. Hurry, eat it. Lethina saw her daughter babbling and hurriedly asked, Doris, what's wrong with you? Doris hurriedly said, Nothing, I just ran a little faster just now. I feel a little bit off breath, so I just need to rest for a while. Simon couldn't help but said distressedly, Oh, what are you doing so fast? Walk slowly, just buy slowly, not need to hurry. Doris said unnaturally, Dad, aren't you hungry? You have not been eating for so long, I am afraid that you will lose your body from starvation. In fact, Doris was ashamed, to tell the truth. The reason she ran so fast was that she was afraid that her parents would say something that shouldn't be said to Charlie. That's why she deliberately ran faster, trying to compress the time that her parents and Charlie spend alone. At this moment, the little nurse also rushed in and blurted out in surprise, Director Chen, the patient's blood came out, and the blood creatinine is only 45.